Welcome back to episode 3 of our Fernando Alonso driver career mode in F124. So just getting straight into it, these are the goals set for this weekend, and also taking a look at the upgrades. This is what we have planned on the car. Unfortunately, those aren't coming this weekend, but we do have one coming on before the Australian Grand Prix, and that's a chassis upgrade. So hopefully that makes us a little bit more balanced throughout the corners, and we can compete just a little bit more with the top team. So heading into practice now, just doing all the practice programs, and I'm just trying to get maximum resource points out of these practice sessions. It allows you to kind of climb up the ranks a little bit faster and have a little bit more flexibility in terms of upgrades. So we do have a car that can compete pretty well with the top teams, so it's not really much of a worry at the beginning stages of the season, but as people upgrade more and more throughout the later stages of the season, that's when we're going to see more of a difference. We really have to keep up with the R&D, but that's practice done, and now we're jumping straight into qualifying. So this is qualifying 1. As per usual, I'm only going to do a single lap in Q1 right at the end of the session here, and that way we can kind of save a set of soft compound tires either for Q3 or for the race. Maybe if there's a safety car or something, we'll have the option for soft compound tires that aren't used. So coming on the main straight now, our final lap, or I guess our only lap in Q1, and we set a 1:17.5, which should put us through to Q2 with no problem at all. First in qualifying 1, and we knew that wasn't going to be an issue. So this is qualifying 2 now. This is our first lap at the very beginning of the session. We're going to be up to the line right here. We'll see what position this puts us in. I think maybe a little bit slower than last time around. We set a 1:17.7. And now we're on our final lap of qualifying 2. We should have a really good improvement here. That last lap was on a used set of soft compound tires, so the gap in the delta by the end of the lap should be pretty significant, but we'll have to see. We shouldn't really have a problem getting through to Q3. It hasn't been a problem yet so far this season. Once that becomes a problem, I think we're going to be in trouble. You can see almost a second improvement up to the line right now. 1:16.7 easily puts us through to Q3, which we're doing our first lap as we speak in qualifying 3. So very beginning of the session right here on, again, a used set of soft compound tires, therefore saving a set of softs for the race or for later in the session if we decide to do a third lap, which probably won't be necessary. But we're on a really good win streak right now, so this qualifying session is very important. We have a win in Bahrain, a win in Jeddah, and now we're shooting for 3 for 3 to win in Australia. We've had a couple really close races, especially last round in Jeddah with Verstappen that was a pretty crazy one. So if you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. But anyway, final lap in qualifying 3 for Australia. We're currently 10th in the field, so we're definitely going to have a major improvement on this lap. A little bit wide, it looks like, to that first corner, but again, this is a new set of softs, and that last lap was on a used set, so we should, again, have a massive improvement by the time we get to the end of the lap. Good rotation through here. This section can be a little bit tricky in F124. It's definitely a little different than previous games, but we make it through there, no problem. You can see 4/10 up on our previous time right now, and Verstappen sets the fastest lap of a 1:16.966. So that's the lap we have to beat, and hopefully we can do it. We're really improving on this lap. Definitely feeling very clean and getting good rotation through the corners. We had a big mistake here last lap, so this should increase our delta by a lot. You can see up to 8/10 through that corner now, almost 9/10 through the final corners now. We should be improving by over a second if we're on track. We don't make any mistakes. A little bit wide through the last corner, and into these last few. Throttle down on the main straight, DRS enabled, improving by 1.2 seconds. It's going to be close for pole position here across the line, and we set a 1:16.90. So we beat Verstappen to pole for round 3 in Australia.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Fernando Alonso yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Stroll, Sainz, Hamilton, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Albon, Perez, Ricciardo, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, Hulkenberg, and Yuki Tsunoda.
All right, on the grid, and we're looking at our tire strategy. We're going to go one stop here, mediums to hards. I was thinking about using the soft compound tires, but I don't really think it's going to be a viable choice, unless maybe we get some type of safety car, but even that is going to have to be very conveniently timed. It's going to depend, but formation lap is over now, heading towards the start line and getting parked up. We should have a pretty good race right here. Again, Australia is a very good track for me. I feel pretty confident around here. The car's been feeling great all weekend through practice, through qualifying. So with a good start, we should have the lead into turn 1. And from there on, it's probably going to be a lot of defending like the last couple races. But again, round 3, we're going for 3 for 3 right here. 3 wins in a row to give Fernando a really good start to the season. 5 red lights are off, and we are racing in Australia. So far, a really good start. Pretty much 0 wheel spin off the line. You can see Lando already maybe going for a move up the inside into turn 1. We're going to close the door as soon as we can. Taking it nice and cautious, though, through turn 1. Want to make sure we don't have any type of incident with Lando behind. It looks like he might go for another move into turn 2 now, or I guess it's turn 3. Around the outside, we're defending this inside line hard. Good rotation through the corner right there. We kind of box out Lando, and again, close the door. Taking it still really cautious through here, just making sure we don't spin or have any incidents with these cold tires. So that would definitely ruin our race pretty quickly. But Lando continuing to put a lot of pressure behind us. On this kind of main straight now, or I guess back straight, Lando's looking like he can easily just fly up the inside. We do have a lot of drag compared to the other cars. I've noticed straight line speed-wise, we're definitely a little bit slow. We've noticed that issue in Bahrain and in Jeddah, but luckily with the use of the battery right there, we can fend off the 2 McLarens behind and live to fight another couple corners in first place. Again, it looks like Lando's going to go for a move around the outside into this corner. Again, defending the inside line and just try to brake evenly, avoid any contact, and close the door on Lando and Norris yet again. I think this race is going to be a lot of defending. Lap 1 coming to an end right now, and we have 28 more times to do this without getting overtaken for the lead. So we'll see how we can do. On lap 2 now, Lando again going for a move around the outside. Again, we're going to do the same thing, just try to take it nice and slow through this corner and just box him out and close the door. But anyway, lap 3 now, and you can see Lando is still pressuring us from behind. We just set the fastest lap, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Lando too far behind to make a move into turn 1, but now he's definitely going to take advantage of this DRS and again go to the outside here. We're going to defend the inside line. Lando gets a little bit ahead under braking this time. A little bit of contact with the front wing, it looks like. Hopefully no damage. Piastri going for a move up the inside too. Unfortunately, defending from him costs a little bit of time to Lando in front. So now hopefully we can play a little bit of catch up on this back straight now with DRS and with full use of the battery. Battery is charging so fast. I have the engine braking setting up to 100%, the maximum. So under braking, we charge a lot of battery. So each lap, we don't even really have to save ERS. We can pretty much use it consistently every lap, switching to the outside right there in the slipstream, and no problem breezing past Lando Norris. A little bit deep into this corner, a little bit faster on braking right there than I thought I was going to be. But we get Lando back pretty much right away. Maybe he's going to go for a move. We're kind of weaving on the straight. That's probably not allowed by the FIA, but we deter Lando from going for another move up the inside here. Very scary move from Lando. That would have been a little ugly if he decided to stick the nose into that corner. But anyway, on lap 4 now, you can see Lando again going for that move around the outside. This time we're going to give him the space. We don't want to lose any time fighting Piastri behind, and we know we can catch him on this back straight. So it looks like Yuki Tsunoda going through turn 1 might have some type of engine issues, slowing down and pulling to the side. We might have our first retirement of the season, I think. And it's Yuki in Australia. Yellow flag in Sector 1. We're passing Lando Norris in Sector 2. And we're past Lando. Pretty much no problem yet again. So really back and forth with Lando pretty much the whole race so far. A lot of defending and a lot of attacking on the other side of it. Passing Yuki in turn 1, and we get a safety car on lap 5. That was definitely a curveball. I don't know why there's a safety car for that. That's kind of weird. He seems to be pulled off the track in a position that should be pretty safe. But anyway, safety car in lap 5. I'm considering going to the pit lane here. I know it's really early for hard compound tires. They're going to be really worn by the end of the race. But I have a feeling a lot of the AI are going to pit since they're all doing one stop. So we decide to pit, going into the pit lane now. We'll see what the AI do. It looks like they're following us in. And a lot of people are going to be switching to the hard compound tires. So definitely a good decision by us to do that. I was a little concerned that if I got onto the hard compound tires, no one followed me in, then I would put myself at a massive disadvantage. But this is a pretty good way to kind of mitigate that risk. So onto the hard compound tires, and that is the only pit stop of the race. And it's under the safety car. So not losing any time. We have a couple back markers in front of us now. So hopefully we can get through them pretty quickly. Prepared to resume racing. We're on the final corner, about to accelerate onto the main straight. Lando Norris is behind us with Charles Leclerc behind him as well. So we really got to get through these guys in front as fast as we possibly can. The sooner we overtake these next 6 cars in front of us, the more of a gap we put to Lando and to any other cars behind us. So it's definitely to our advantage if we can pass these guys as smoothly and as quickly as possible with no incidents and no side-by-side racing. We just want quick dive bombs, simple overtakes, just get these guys out of the way. So already getting pretty close to Kevin Magnussen in the front now. The tires are getting a little bit more warmed up. I'm definitely a little bit faster than the Haas in front, really putting the pressure on Kevin Magnussen behind. You can see we can maybe even go for a move. Magnussen locks up, flies off the track, and that's an easy overtake for us. So that's one knocked off the list right away, but unfortunately Lando Norris passes him as well. This is Kevin Magnussen's point of view. He rejoins very unsafely and slams into Lance Stroll, my teammate, and now Lance is slowing down and pulling to the right side of the road because of front wing damage, and Lance is retiring from the race for some reason, which I don't. Why is he doing that? It's just front wing damage, but now Lance, our teammate, is retired from the race. Under braking now, we have a huge lockup, big save. That invites Lando Norris up the inside now. Absolute chaos on lap 8 right now, defending Lando Norris on the inside. Unfortunately, losing a lot of touch to these guys in front. Another huge lockup around one of the second to last corners. Really close calls on those last couple corners right there. Luckily, I was able to save the car, but this is Lando's point of view. Huge lockup, and the rears just skid out. This invites Lando up the inside, and luckily we kind of pinched him towards the inside just enough where we could swoop around the outside and again have that big lockup. And you can see the car kind of snap on the rear exit right there. So that was very close, but on lap 10 now, and luckily we've caught up to these guys in front without getting overtaken by Lando or Leclerc behind. DRS and battery enabled on this straight. We should be able to go for a move here. Up the inside, late braking. You can see 2 cars in one corner right there. Really nice move that puts Lando at a disadvantage. Still side by side with Guan Yu Zhou, and we swoop around the outside, and we're now in 4th position. Pretty much first on track once these guys are going to have to pit as well. So that puts a lot of space between us and Lando and buys us a little bit of breathing room up the inside of Valtteri Bottas. And very close call with track limits right there. Honestly, kind of a risky overtake for that corner. But Bottas is going to try to fight back, going for a move around the outside into this corner. We're going to defend the inside hard. Nice rotation into this corner, and that's no problem at all. So all we have left is the 2 Alpines of Ocon and Gasly ahead. So geez, so we need it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a breather after that chaos on lap 8. But Ocon and Gasly going side by side through here, that's going to invite us right into this fight. You can see we go purple in sector 2, so clearly we're a little bit faster than these 2 Alpines. And maybe we can go for a move into this corner. It looks like we might be close enough in the slipstream right here. Going to switch to the inside. Gasly's defending hard, under braking now. Again, big lockup up the inside of Gasly. Luckily, we can kind of close the door on him. He tucks behind us. And now we have Ocon to focus on in front. I don't know what is going on with the car. These huge lockups, the rear end is just kicking out really, really brutally under braking. Maybe go for a move up to inside of Ocon right here. Very sketchy, kind of ambitious to go for that move into turn 1. Turn 1's a very fast right-hander, so it's a little bit sketchy. Ocon might go for a move to fight back, but I guess he ducks out of it. And we can have a little bit of a breather after all that overtaking, all that chaos, and all those lockups. I don't know what's going on with the car, but definitely something weird. So you can see Lando Norris, if you look at the leaderboard on the left, Lando Norris is kind of nowhere to be found. Verstappen has taken his place. Verstappen is 3 seconds behind us. He's working his way through the traffic right now. So now is when we really have to focus in and set really fast lap times to increase that gap to Verstappen. You can see Norris is back. He's 10 seconds behind, so he clearly got caught up in some type of incident or some side-by-side racing that slowed him down. So now we don't really have to worry about Lando for the rest of the race. He's 10 seconds behind us. We just have to focus on consistent, fast lap times to keep Verstappen at bay. If you watched last episode in Jeddah, Verstappen and I were racing side-by-side pretty much constantly throughout the entire race. Back and forth every single lap in DRS zones, constantly swapping first and second place. So hopefully we avoid that with Verstappen, because these guys behind him are close enough that if we're fighting side-by-side, Verstappen is going to catch up, and the rest of the field is going to catch up as we're fighting with Verstappen. So really going to try to focus on good, consistent, fast lap times the rest of the race. The one concern I have is I'm on the hard compound tires. Verstappen is obviously also on these tires, but my tire degradation might be a little bit worse than his. You can see he's made up a lot of time. He's 1.5 seconds behind about 4 laps later, and he's definitely going to be catching up to us within DRS pretty soon. You can see George Russell is out of the session for some reason. Maybe that's another safety car. If we get a safety car here, that could really turn the race around. I would instantly pit for soft compound tires and just fly past everybody. But I think it's maybe a little bit too late for that with like 6 or so laps remaining. You can see now we switched to lap 24, and Verstappen is still about 1.4 seconds behind us, but the car is really feeling bloated and heavy. I'm going wide. A lot of places the tires are really starting to fall off. I think the front left is feeling the worst of this tire degradation. It just feels like it's barely clinging on. So Verstappen is now going to be within DRS range as we're slow through those couple corners. Verstappen 9/10 behind now. And this is where everything's going to kick into motion, I think. Verstappen is probably going to be fighting us pretty soon and probably for the rest of the race. Luckily, again, we do have that huge cushion to the rest of the field behind, so we don't really have to worry about someone third-partying us and swooping in as we fight, and they just grab the lead and run away with it. But Verstappen's tires might just be better off than mine. I don't know what Red Bull has in terms of tire wear upgrades on their car. We have 0. Since it's the 3rd race of the season, we have pretty much a stock car. There's pretty much no upgrades on it, and Verstappen at a top team like Red Bull might just have better tire deg. So we're going to have to find out. Verstappen maybe looking for a move up the inside, kind of a tease right there, maybe to see how I'd react. I stick to the outside. You can see 47% wear. Verstappen flies past us. And yeah, we're going to let him go on this one and hopefully get him on this back straight. But again, just going so wide through these corners, I just feel so heavy. The car feels so bloated. It's really hard to try to keep up with Verstappen in front if his tires are just in a better position than mine. But hopefully with battery and with DRS, we can swoop around the outside, similar to what we did with Lando Norris on those first opening laps of the race. But we're going to have to see. Enabling DRS now on the straight in the slipstream. Battery is active as well, and we're flying up to Verstappen, switching to the outside like we did to Lando, and no problem right there. Somehow purple in Sector 2. I don't know how that's possible with these tires. But yeah, we get past Verstappen, so maybe this swapping places won't be as hard as I think. We're just going to have to race really smart and not go wide at corners like that. You can see how much time Verstappen makes up from a small mistake like that. Again, wide through the final corner and onto the main straight. So starting lap 26 with Verstappen very close behind us. He's going to go for a move around the outside. It looks like defending hard this inside line. And luckily, we live another day in first place. He's probably going to go for a move yet again into this corner. It looks like he's switching to take clean air instead of being the slipstream for some reason. He probably could have gone up the inside right there. For some reason, he doesn't. And luckily, that gives us another corner with a little bit of breathing room. So through here, he can't really overtake us. We can just try to take it easy on the tires. But yeah, really trying to conserve as much battery as I can and try to conserve the tires as well as I can. So on lap 27 now, looks like Verstappen might be able to go for a move up the inside. He kind of lunges last second, takes the inside line right there. We're side by side now through this kind of twisty left and right section of Sector 1, and luckily Verstappen backs out at the last second right there, and we can turn into this fast right-hander, clean and free of Verstappen behind or side by side. So a little bit of side by side action right there, and now Verstappen is really close behind. He's 2/10 behind on the straight. He's definitely going to go for a move, probably into one of these corners. Maybe not. It looks like he decides against it. Just try to sticks into the slipstream. Maybe he's conserving battery. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he definitely could have gone for a move there, or he's deciding to go for it here. Instead, flies past us. I don't think we can really do anything to fight that. And we're just going to have to tuck in behind Verstappen on lap 27, about to be lap 28. So we pretty much have 1 or 2 laps for the rest of this race to get past Verstappen and to stick in front of him. Again, going so wide through these corners, it's really hard to keep up with this guy. Maybe on the straights I have a chance, but through the corners, he's just a lot faster. So lap 28 now. At the end of Sector 1, we're still 5 or 6 tenths behind Verstappen in front. We're really going to have to go for a move on this lap, and I think defend as hard as we can on the final lap. I don't want to risk having to go for an overtake on the final lap to take the lead. So DRS is enabled, battery is being used in the slipstream, again flying past Verstappen, switching to the outside. He kind of enables battery last second, side by side into that corner. That could have been messy, and luckily he backs out on the inside line right here. This is Verstappen's point of view right there. You can see we kind of just pinch him to the inside. He can't really do anything about it, and luckily he kind of backs out for just a split second right there, hesitates a little bit, and we take advantage of that hesitation. So heading towards the final lap now, Verstappen is very close behind us. Our tires are clinging on for dear life, but luckily we've saved battery, and now we're going to have to defend as hard as we can. 90% battery at the start of the straight. Verstappen looks like he could be a threat up the inside into turn 1. It looks like he's not going to do anything about it, and now we're going to have to defend again into this corner. Maybe going to stick to the inside line right here. We're going to have to see what Verstappen does and try to defend accordingly. He's not going to go for a move yet again. So again, we have a little bit of breathing room through Sector 1. We're still going to try to manage the battery as best as we can, try to manage the tires. Somehow, we're going to have to keep this lead in front of Verstappen. He's 2 tenths behind us heading onto the back straight. He's going to have a slipstream, he's going to have DRS, and again, he's going to have usage of his battery and potentially even better tires. So I don't know how it's going to be possible if we can, if he gets past us. I think that might be game over, but Verstappen 2 tenths, 3 tenths behind us now. We're using full battery right here, really dumping the ERS. And it looks like it might be working. Verstappen kind of falling behind right here. We turn in here. Really good line through this section. Just trying to keep it nice and tidy. And it looks like that might somehow be working. Verstappen is not even close enough to go for a move into this corner. So now we just got to avoid mistakes. And hopefully we get to the end of this race. A little mistake right there, just as I say that. Hopefully we get to the end of this race in first place. It doesn't look like Verstappen is going to have enough juice to go for a move. And through the final corners now, somehow, with just the use of the battery, we keep the lead from Verstappen. He's not going to have enough to get us on the straight before the finish line, and that's a first place finish in Australia. We're 3 for 3 this season. Fernando Alonso is back. Wow, first place yet again. Alright, first place finish yet again. Fernando Alonso is on fire. Great start to the season, and pretty great race overall. Good fights with Verstappen. I don't know why he didn't really go for a move on that final lap. He had battery, he had a slipstream. I don't know. It's kind of similar to what happened in round 2 in Jeddah. He kind of did the same thing. So speaking of that, if you're new to this series, you haven't seen episode 1 or 2, definitely check those out. This is going to be a long-standing series. We're going to do every single race on the calendar. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Very good race. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.